Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and I'm back here to bring you more content from Reddit. Today we're going to be talking about neckbeards. Neckbeards are nerdy men who like to dress classy to impress m'lady. They also like to gatekeep things like anime and comic books. Well, you'll see. Let's just begin with more neckbeards from Reddit. These posts come to us from Reddit Just Neckbeard Things. People that have nightmares are actually pretty lucky. I mean, they get to wake up and realize that the monster isn't real. However, I get to wake up and realize the girl isn't real. I think those kind of dreams are probably common too. Either that or I'm just also a weirdo. Let me know in the comments if you want. Hot take. We started watching anime as an escape from the real world, while girls do it as a trend. They only watch it for male validation, yet we watch it because it's the only thing that makes us happy for once. I mean, if men want to escape from the real world, I feel like women are bound to too. I don't think it helps these guys when they act like women are a different species. Also, watching anime for male validation? I never thought I'd hear those words when I was young. Madness. A sign outside proclaimed Jesus lives, so I went inside to inquire because I was under the impression that he had died for my sins. Sins, I might add, that weren't committed by me, I later found out, but by a man whose provenance I can't verify, eating something from a tree as a result of talking to a snake. I lost the plot after a while, so I can't explain exactly what I was told. I managed to nab one of the sales staff in the establishment in the hope that he could explain the contradiction I had noticed, and he explained, no she here, that apparently God sacrificed his only son as a loophole to allow me to sidestep the rules that God created. It didn't make much sense to me either, but to cut a long story short, it seems that Jesus only gave up a weekend for my sins. I left still not understanding. On passing the church a few days later, I noticed the sign had gone. It's funny, I know he's acting more ignorant than he actually is, but it makes him sound like a child. What kind of a scholar is this ignorant about the basics of Christianity? I say this as someone who isn't religious, but I did go to Catholic school a long time ago. 15 to 20 years ago, I used to post passive-aggressive statuses that women only ever wanted men with tattoos and muscles, or a fast car, etc., no matter what they had to endure. Now, nearly 20 years later, I realize that these weren't passive-aggressive statements, but pretty much fact because I see every day on my timeline women obsessed with guys who treat them like shite, but have nothing to offer apart from a 3-inch dick, big arms, and a starter pack of tattoos. Hopefully one day the female population will start to appreciate the nice guys, the dad bods, the average guy, the academic, the philanthropist, the one passionate about his art or career no matter what. The hardworking guy just trying to make a life, etc., etc. I doubt it will ever happen, but here's to hoping evolution comes through. Yeah, this one's amazing. After many years of life, he came to an epiphany. But it wasn't that he was wrong for his nice guy ways. It's that he was more right than he ever knew back then. God. See, the thing is, when guys watch anime, we have our waifus, right? And that's cause, well, waifus are loyal, and hoes ain't loyal, and most of us anime watchers are lonely, depressed, and have most probably been hurt by people many times, and cause hoes ain't loyal, most of us are guys. And I do not like the idea of girls watching anime, cause then they ruin total anime. An example would be Boku no Hero Academia, or even Haikyuu for that matter. They with their weird-ass ships. It just ruins the anime, not gonna lie. Even now I find it hard to watch Haikyuu cause the gay effing ships. And now hoes might say we have lesbian fantasies. We aren't saying don't have gay fantasies, we're just saying not anime boys. Read some fucking gay doujinshis or something, or watch hentai, but stop ruining mainstream anime with your weird-ass fantasies. Most anime watchers are lonely and depressed. Yeah, I'm sure that's true. I feel like this guy's new to the internet or something. Fandoms have always ruined series for people. Like, when I was a kid watching Sailor Moon, there was definitely some guy named Robert Tsunai writing a fanfic called Chibi Usa's 7th birthday. Do not ask, you really don't want to know. The old internet was a scary place. Okay, this story comes to us from Reddit Neckbeard Stories, the place to leave your encounters with neckbeards as well if you want. Dating Deadpool Beard. Trigger warning, suicide baiting and assault. I have been absolutely obsessed with reading and watching YouTube videos about this subreddit for the past 4 months and I cannot get enough. Makes me want to have my own encounter with a neckbeard, and then it hit me. I've already been way too close for comfort with one. Introducing OP, Eden, E for short. I was about 16 at the time, about 5'4", a little chubby, busty and shy, short hair, not terrible looking. Too nice for my own good, and I also sucked at saying no and standing up for myself. I loved drawing, watching a lot of anime at the time, and playing video games, which definitely made me look like a succulent ham on Christmas Eve to any smelly lard of a human being that came into contact with me. At the time, I was going to a private Catholic school that sucked you dry not only of money, but your spirit and motivation. Seriously, fuck that school. I had just gotten dumped and was very desperate for some form of affection. My only safe haven was Instagram, where I could post about my hobby, art, and selfies. One day I got a direct message from someone I didn't recognize. I wish I had the messages saved still, but I blocked him on about everything, but I can paraphrase. Deadpool beard joins the fight. DPB for short. Deadpool beard wasn't your average katana-wielding, fedora-tipping fat fuck with a superiority complex. He was tall, lanky, smelled okay I guess, and the only feature that some might find unnerving was a slight cleft lip that had been fixed as a baby. Deadpool beard. Hey, I saw some of your art on your profile, and I must say, you're very talented. Now, I didn't get many compliments on my art on my Instagram, mostly because I didn't post a lot of it, so I was tickled pink by the sudden praise of my handiwork. Eden. Hey, thanks a lot, man, I try my best. Deadpool beard. Don't mention it. I also try my hand at drawing too, but it's not nearly as good as yours. Eden, don't say that. Everyone has the right to express themselves through art, even if it's not professionally. Can I see some of your art? He then proceeded to send me drawings of various Marvel characters, and of course Deadpool, poorly traced and colored with colored pencils. I'm not one to judge drawing skills, but tracing other people's work is detestable. Detestable, huh? I don't know, it would be pretty embarrassing for someone to get caught tracing, but I didn't know artists hated it this much. I didn't want to be rude, so I humored his work and asked him who his favorite Marvel character was, and he replied hastily that the chimichanga-loving Spider-Man knockoff was his favorite. Now don't get me wrong, I love Deadpool and all of his weird and quirky glory, but Deadpool beard damn near turned liking Deadpool into a personality trait. Deadpool lanyard always hanging out of his pocket, Deadpool hoodie, Deadpool keychain hanging off the rearview mirror of his car, Deadpool sticker on the rear window. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, people are probably going to bug me in the comments if I don't say that Deadpool's a knockoff of Deathstroke more than Spider-Man. So we'll just get that out of the way, I guess. Eden, hey, I like Deadpool too. I can't wait to see Deadpool 2, which was coming out in about a week or so. I saw this as a simple remark of endearment to his beloved pepperoni-skinned man. He saw this as an opportunity to ask Milady out on a date. A Deadpool date. Deadpool beard, would you like to see it with me? I already got a ticket for it, but I can buy another one for you. At this point, I didn't know he lived anywhere near me, so I was a bit confused about how he already knew that I was in the area without even asking me. I figured he asked a friend of mine or something, because I later found out we had a mutual friend. Eden, where do you even live? Deadpool beard, oh, I live in so-and-so county in the same state you live in. The same county I live in also. I think the only thing cringier than being this into Deadpool would be being this into the Punisher. Oh, or being a 34-year-old man who tells people he makes YouTube videos for a living. I was a bit weirded out, but not too much, because I live in a smallish area where almost everyone knows each other outside the city. It wasn't hard to ask around and find someone who knows anything about a person. Red flag number 1 that stupid 16-year-old me didn't see. Eden, oh, that actually sounds kind of nice. If you don't mind, I would love to come. Which was true. Around that time, some of my friend group graduated and left the squad looking kind of sparse, so I was happy to find one more to add. We exchanged Snapchats at some point, and talking to him became a daily thing, and I eventually grew to enjoy his company. He had a similar sense of humor to me, and he also played some video games with me too. A week seemed to fly by, and the dawn of the final day came upon us. The final day of my sanity, that is. The Deadpool movie was set to screen at around 4 p.m. that day, so I spent the day doing some chores and playing on my Nintendo Switch until it was time to get ready. I took a shower, dressed up in a hoodie and jeans, and had him pick me up from my house. I waited inside my garage for him to pull up while my dad waited with me to meet him. A small gray Kia covered in Deadpool merch and a Deadpool Funko Pop glued to his rearview window dash pulled up at the end of our driveway, and out came our knight in shining armor. Well, actually, he was wearing a pink hoodie and cargo pants, but that's beside the point. This is the first time I actually saw him in person, and I was a little thrown off by the way his lips contorted slightly, but it really didn't bother me. He had pierced ears and his left eyebrow was pierced as well. He met my dad and behaved pretty well all the way until we got into the room our movie was playing at. It turns out since he bought my ticket days after he bought his, our seats were on opposite sides of the room. My seat was in the front row and his was toward the back. I was a little annoyed and disappointed because I didn't want to sit next to people I didn't know, and I think he picked up on this. Deadpool beard. Hey Eden, sorry about your seat. If you'd like we can share my seat so you can sit near me. Now we went to one of those fancy movie theaters with the slightly larger than average chairs, and they leaned back like lounge chairs so it could just barely fit 2 people. Eden, sure, why not? Thanks. I thought he was just trying to make the situation more comfortable for me, but it would become very clear very quickly he had ulterior motives. We sit down in the seat and it is uncomfortably close. My thigh is squished into his and I don't have much wiggle room. I suck it up and decide to just try to enjoy the movie. Which Deadpool beard decided was unacceptable and he needed to do something to woo his date. Which, by the way, we never specified this as a date. He put his arm around my shoulder and pulled me closer and I sort of freeze up. I have issues when someone or something makes me uncomfortable. I sort of freeze up and wait for whatever it is to stop or go away. It's something I've worked on, but it was really bad back then. Right, so you shouldn't assume that something's a date, obviously. I mean, a movie's a date activity, I guess, but the lines are a little blurred when both people show up dressed this casually. If this girl felt like it, she could make him look like a total fool over this. More than his car already does. I fidget my hands a little bit, and he must have taken that as a sign to comfort Milady in distress by grabbing my hand and holding it. They were cold as ice, but somehow still sweaty. This went on until the movie ended and credits began rolling. I usually stretch after a movie because I have bad joints, genetic issues, fuck my life, so I try to stand up but he grabs my wrist and pulls me back down into the seat and looks me in the eyes. Deadpool beard. You look really nice today, Eden. I didn't know it was possible for someone to look this astonishing in such comfortable clothing. Now, I didn't know whether to take it as a compliment or an insult, so I brushed it off and blushed with a tinge of cringe in my brain. Eden, thanks. You look nice too. Then he started to lean into what I think was an attempt at kissing me, but I shot out of the seat, stretching very dramatically and yawned. Very nervously and with a shaky voice, I asked, Haha, hey, I'm really hungry. Do you think we could grab a bite to eat? And this thankfully bought me time to make it until 8 o'clock, which was the time I needed to be home by. Visibly a little hurt from my rejection of his advances, he replies, Deadpool beard, well, sure. I guess I can take you to the Chick-fil-A that's in front of my job. Relieved to have my body free from his bony thigh shackles, I was immediately captured again as we walked out of the theater by his clammy hand grabbing mine. We walk back to his car and he opens the door for me and I cringe visibly, but at this point I just wanted to go home. On the drive to Chick-fil-A, he begins talking about how he feels so alone all the time and how he's dealing with his depression and mental health a lot recently. Now, I'm someone who will listen to literally anyone vent about their mental health issues because I knew exactly what he was going through as I was in a similar situation. But the way he went about talking about it, to me, made it seem like he was trying to guilt trip me. God, he doesn't even have to be. Talking about your mental health on a first date is one of the biggest red flags in existence. Deadpool beard. It feels like everyone that I've ever cared about leaves me for someone better. I don't understand. I try my hardest to be the best that I can be, but it never seems like enough. Now, this guy had an awful inferiority complex, and I had one at the time too, but my god, this guy was a whole other level. Eden, listen, you shouldn't place your self-worth into how other people view you. Just try to be as genuine of a person as you can be and cherish those that are still in your life. He might have taken that last part a bit too seriously because as I finished my sentence, he grabbed my hand again and caressed it with his thumb. We arrived at the Chick-fil-A and he pulled out a Deadpool wallet and ordered chicken nuggets for me and he got a sandwich. We pulled into a parking space overlooking a cornfield and began to eat. He continued talking. Deadpool beard. You know, I never really felt so connected with someone. I wish I could do more to show it to you. The way he said this was mildly creepy, but I can't tell if he meant it to entail anything or not. But knowing beards, it's usually not PG. Besides, this isn't the most appropriate thing to say to someone you've known for a grand total of 2 weeks. Eden, you've already done enough for me today. I had a nice time. Deadpool beard. Well, no, I mean more special, like... He proceeded to touch my face with his grease-covered fingers and push his lips onto mine. I froze up and panicked, not knowing what to do. Disgusted at not only his greasy little mitts touching my face, but his lips kissing me greedily. He was an awful kisser, nearly drooling down my chin as he did so. He pulled away and looked into my eyes once more. He pulled my hair out of my face and said, You're amazing. I think I'd probably kill myself if you ever left me. Will you be my girlfriend? This is crazy. I feel like every time I've had a partner, it was a decision between 2 people, but this guy is doing everything he can to not give this girl a chance to say no. He even busted out the suicide threat on someone he doesn't even know that well. I hate seeing this bullshit work. I was very easily manipulated back then and I didn't know what to do. I silently cut my losses and began to panic as I have had a rough past with suicide. This guy was nice enough to take me to a theater and pay for my food. He bought me dinner. The least I can do is give him a chance, right? Wrong, but I still did it. I gave this inconsiderate, personal space invading weirdo a chance, and for about 6 months, he was the #1 cause of stress in my life. This was a very long-winded story, and I apologize, but there is actually more. A lot more, but I need to go do some stuff. If any of you would like to see more of Deadpool Beard, you're in luck. I will be updating the story within the month. In the meantime, Merry Christmas, and I hope you can enjoy it at least a little bit. It is astonishing, to use his word, that a first date this bad can actually lead to dating. She's not even attracted to him by the end of it. I really hope the author has figured out a way to stop someone from holding her hand by force for hours on end. There is a part 2, by the way. I haven't read it yet, but let me know if you'd like me to. I think I will be covering Lucas Werner soon. Well, he's a neckbeard. How about one more post? Thank goodness for COVID-19. 6 feet, haters. No one needs your slutty, greedy filth. I have a strange feeling that people are probably staying a lot farther than 6 feet from Lucas. Yeah, he's been celebrating COVID deaths because he thinks Gen Z is hooking up at these huge orgies and he's jealous. I am not joking. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, let me hear it in the comments, even if it's just telling me that you want part 2. I don't know why I ask, people always want part 2. If you're new here, consider subscribing because I'm supposed to be regularly putting out content. I'll get back to that soon. Yeah, Lucas' video is incoming. He's back in college. He's now making more culinary abominations with a toaster oven in the homeless shelter. You'll see soon enough. Thanks also to my generous patrons. This video is getting really long, so I'll shout them out next time, hopefully tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone, and isn't it weird to think how we used to be able to go to movie theaters? Feels so long ago now. Maybe that's less funny than it is poignant.